I'm back with another Hoya video. In this video I'm going to talk about Mealies, clear paths, watering, and the pros and cons of clear paths. So first I'm going to describe what is Mealies. Mealies are white cottony like bags that sucks the juice of your plant. So in Hoyas they are mostly found in the roots, but in other high humidity areas they also occur between the joints and in the soft areas of your plants, and they suck the juice of your plant. So basically they are parasites like your aphids, and I like them to the parasites of the animals and also the people. And secondly, my pots, my clear pots I have here. My clear pots is basically a recycled plastic bottles. So this is the the top part of the Coke 2 liters. This is the 1.5, and this is the 1 liter Pepsi. So my ideal pot is the 1.5, but for some Hoyas, the Carnosa and the Pubicola, the 2 liters is perhaps the best, but for most Hoya, the 1.5 liters is the best, I think. For some Hoyas like the Darwinii with very small roots, the 1 liter perhaps will do, but the 1.5 is I think is the best. So as you can see, I have the holes here, and so that I have the water here, but for the bottom part I have the holes a little lower compared to the top part. The reason for that is that the top part have a opening here, so the top part is actually is my preferred pot because of this opening here. So this gives me an option to close or open this one. So just in case I need more water, I close this one, and if I think I need to drain down the water, I just open this and I place the cup here so that I can place it back anytime that I wanted to. So why I chose this kind of holes. I live in the Philippines. We have 2 seasons here, the wet season and the dry season. The dry season is commonly called summer, but to be politically correct, it is a dry season, but you can call it summer so that it is, because it is the word that many of us can relate to. So what happened here during the previous years is that during summer I mostly have killed about between 50 to 30 pots. That's every summer. Those are big Carnosas, and you are talking about Carnosas that is maybe at least 6 to 10 meters long, so that is big, maybe 1 to 2 years old. And many of those Hoyas have been planted in clay. But when I introduced these side holes, I noticed that the fewer Hoyas, actually during the first 2 years I have not experienced root rot in these side holes. So For me, the side holes is more effective than the bottom holes, although they always advise to have a well draining pot. But I have experience here this summer particularly. I have, for the first time, I have a root rot with the well draining pot and a coconut husk, which is also a well draining medium. And when I took off the Hoya from the pot, it had some mealies in it. So basically the problem of the root rot or the mealies and not the water itself. So I decided to place the side holes here. Basically I have not actually taken the cap here. This is just a preparation just in case. So my prepared medium now is the cocoa husk. So the reason for that is this one here is the coconut husk, and as you can see, this Hoya here is looks very healthy. You can see that the leaves here is very stiff. So this is a very good Hoya. I have some peduncles here, but this Hoya have actually mealies here. I intentionally did not cure this one for this video. This mealies here in this part, you can see this one is about a month old already. So this Hoya have mealies in it for already a month, but because the holes here is above and it has water in here, the mealies somehow have almost did not affect this Hoya. Why is that so? So I relate it to the animals and humans, as I have said earlier. If a human or an animal eats so much and often, you can hardly tell if that one is experiencing worms, but once that animal or human get a little food, then you can see that it will more immediately get thinner. That is the same with the plants, because these mealies are parasites. So if the amount of water, which is the food for our, which is the source of nutrients for our plants, gets little, then the Hoya will get affected. So that is why I always have a reservoir here. But because our mealies thrives in the semi-moist areas of your plant, this type of setup is prone to mealies. So what is the that is the advantage here, that I can see the mealies. So when I see the mealies, I can immediately place some pesticides there. I use the Lanate or the 7. I poured about a teaspoon in a 1 liter soft drink bottle and dilute it there. Then I pour some here, not all of the 1 liter, just some, like watering it. The bad side of this type of setup, because it is always wet, the wet setup, if you are not using a medium that you cannot see, like this one have soil on it, so you cannot see if there are mealies in it, because the mealies are at the roots and the roots here are hidden behind the soil, unlike with the coconut husk, where the roots are actually, some of them are at the pot itself and you can see it. So you can see the mealies there. But if you are with the soil where there is no space between, the mealies are hidden, so you cannot see it. So this one, I think has Mealies in it because the leaves here is dehydrated. So once I see that the leaves do not look healthy and looks dehydrated, I do the taco test. So I do not do the hot taco test just to see if it is about to water, because my setup is wet setup. So I will taco test to see if the plant is dying. So this one is dehydrated. So let's check. Let's pull this Hoya from the pot. Let's check if my suspicion is correct. Just a moment, I'll get some scissors. Okay, let's remove this cable tie first so that we can pull up this Hoya. Let's check if my suspicion is true, but nonetheless I will still pull out this Hoya here because it doesn't look healthy here. So a moment. Okay. So, yep, you can see the fruit is dead, and most likely the Mealies already move out because there is no Mealies here. So this one will be replanted with the coconut husk. I have about coconut husk here for about 4 pots still left, and everything else will be from now on will be planted with the coconut husk, just for the reason that I can see them. So another reason that I am now choosing the clear pot is that, I mean the wet setup, is that because I am in the Philippines, the weather during wet season, especially now, for the past month, there are just about 2 days I think that the sun is shining, and then at the evening it did not rain. Like yesterday, the sun is too hot, the weather is too hot during the day, but it rained I think at around 4 a.m. So, but in other parts of the country, actually just about an hour from me here, they have not experienced rain for some time now, and some of my friends who are planting rice are actually complaining regarding that because their rice fields is already cracking and the rice is dying. So, and during summer also, since 2011, because there is a drastic change in the weather since 2011. I knew it because I started photography last 2011, and one of the factor that I remember at the time is that on the 2010 and below that, before that, prior to that, the my town is the top producer of salt in the entire country. But after 2011, when the 2011 season comes, it rains every 2 weeks, so the production of salt have halted for some time, and that pattern somehow did not change. So the rain actually in here is a little constant, even though it is really summer. It is just less rain during the summer, but it still rain once in a while every 2 weeks. So that is why I cannot do like what they do in the US, where they have a controlled environment indoor. All my Hoyas here are outdoor. That is why I prepared this wet setup. So yeah, we have discussed the Mealies, the behavior of Mealies, the thrive on wet, on your semi-moist areas. That is why my wet setup is prone to Mealies. So the cure to Mealies is that if you have the soil and you notice that your Hoya is dying, you pull it off, and if you see the Mealies there and your roots is still alive, you wash it off, totally wash it off, replace all the soil if you're using soil, and then place it back. Place your Hoya in a bright and indirect sunlight. Treat it like a new cutting until the leaves is already stable. But if to avoid it, to avoid the Mealies, if you are using soil and you cannot see the Mealies and you had the wet setup, just pour 7 or Lanate every 2 weeks, I think we'll do that. But for me here, because I am now replacing all of my setup to the coconut husk, and I can easily see which part is needed some pesticides, because I don't really spray pesticides on every pot. I'm also concerned with some bugs that is not harmful to the plants. So when just spray when needed. So even if their up is there, if it do not affect the flowers, I do not actually spray them with anything, because actually some of my Hoyas are very high, so I cannot actually reach it. But if the aphids are affecting the flowers will not bloom. So I spray them with pesticides. I forgot watering. I have mentioned that I have all my setup here in the outside, and I have also mentioned the rain. So I have no water schedule. I always kept them wet, and because I always have some read some questions about watering. So basically that's the answer. I always have them wet, and I have no control over the water. So I don't believe the overwatering idea. I don't know where did you get that idea. Maybe for some plants the overwatering idea is correct, but for Hoyas I don't think so, because in the for example in the mountains, they are totally found in the mountain areas, mostly of the mountain. Some of them are on the cracks or in the some parts of the limestone areas. But if they are in the mossy parts of the forest, there are always water every time of the year. The moss gives them water every second of the year. So I don't know where did you get that idea of the controlling the amount of water. I always have them wet, and I think the wet setup is still the best for my plants. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Until next time.